Oh, all right, so for the viewers, okay?
Yeah.
A little nervous about this.
Our team put the hottest smattering I've ever seen. That's the most hot sauce.
I know,
I've
and I'm not envying you there.
All right, ready? Cheers.
Cheers.
Welcome to Wings with Wayne, the show where sovereignty gets spicy. I'm your host, Wayne Ducheneau. It's my distinct honor and privilege today to invite Chief Lynn Malerba. Chief Malerba is the 18th Chief of the Mohegan tribe and our current United States Treasurer. Chief Malerba, as we sample the first wing that is the taco, please tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got to become the Treasurer of the United States.
Well, it was a bit of a surprise to me, so cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. It was a bit of a surprise to me because I was just kind of happily doing my day job, which is the chief of the Mohegan tribe. And I got a call asking if I would be comfortable with my name getting put forward to be the treasurer. And of course, when you do that, then you can't tell anybody about it either, right? So I thought, well, this is going to be a problem for me. And so I Googled, what does the treasurer do? Because I wanted to make sure if I was saying yes, I knew what I was getting myself into. And they said, well, you can't tell anybody about this because, if you are approved, then it's President Biden's announcement to make. So this is not bad.
This one's taco-y. It's pretty good. Pretty good, yeah.
It's not bad. This is delicious. Part of the thing that appealed to me was the fact that the Secretary of Treasury wanted to set up an Office of Tribal and Native Affairs. And I'd been on the other side of the table saying, we need to do this. And so now it's my job to do this. And so we're in the process of setting up that office, and they've just been doing wonderful work with the Office of Recovery Programs, and so they know Indian country. And this is the first time Treasury actually has funded tribal programs. And so this was a great opportunity, and it was $30 billion that went from Treasury into tribal communities. And they did a great job understanding tribes and also, thinking about how you might do funding formulas differently. So we consulted Indian country, and that really, really helped, I think.
What are you thinking so far? So far, so good? All right. Are we ready to go to hell raising?
Sure.
Triple Inferno?
Not that I would ever be a hell raiser, but
of course, of course. So, and you've touched a little bit about this, but as we're taking on the hell raiser, you tell us a little bit about what does a treasurer do, and maybe what's the one most surprising thing about your job?
So the treasurer is, there's several roles for the treasurer. One is overseeing the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. The other is overseeing the Mint. I am a liaison to the Federal Reserve Bank, and also Fort Knox falls into there a little bit too.
Wow.
I haven't visited Fort Knox yet, but I'm looking forward to that.
I would love to tour the Gold Room with you.
Yeah, me too. And also community engagement. So that's exactly, what we're doing here. And one of the really interesting committees I get to be on is the Advanced Counterfeiting Deterrence Committee.
Awesome.
And so I've learned a lot about the security that goes into money. And fun fact, if you wanted to put a piece of currency on a printer and print it, it wouldn't print.
I haven't
Did you
tried
know
it.
that?
No, I didn't know that. I hadn't tried that.
And so that's really fascinating. The security features and the details that go into our currency is what makes other countries feel so comfortable with it.
What are you thinking about hell raising so far?
This isn't too bad.
Yeah.
A little tingly. My lips are a little tingly, but not terrible.
And so remember, we have water, we have rosehip tea, and lactose-free milk. I'm going to tap into the milk early to kind of set a soothing base, because the next hot sauce is ghost pepper pineapple.
Uh-oh, that could be trouble for me. But the milk could be trouble for me too. I hate milk.
I want to cheers this hot sauce one, hopefully to kind of ping some of my sauce onto yours so I get less.
That's not fair.
So as chief of your tribe, it's a lifetime appointment. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about what that means, what your role was there, and how you led your nation?
Well, as you know, I was a critical care nurse, and so that's how I got my name, Chief Many Hearts. And our Constitution is such that it had been rewritten that the chief is an appointed position, but the chief does not run the day-to-day operations. And this would allow me to do more policy work. It would free me up. And so that's what I had been doing, was a lot of policy work at the federal level. In addition to naming ceremonies and weddings and funerals and kissing babies and doing a lot of cultural things for our tribes.
My family served our tribe for years. My dad always instilled in us that when people ask you, you do it. And the way he said it was, would it hurt you a goddamn bit? Right? And so as long as it didn't hurt you, when the people ask you, do. And so that's what I kind of hear, that sense of service leadership in you, that you're carrying on the legacy of your mom, and the people asked you and you've done it. And I think that is the epitome of good tribal leadership is you listen to community and you react to what they need. And so I commend you for that journey.
Oh, thank you for saying that. Yeah, it really is very special to me. And to be able to represent our tribe in a very public way now. So my lips are starting to burn just a little.
It's getting warm, isn't it?
It's getting a little warm.
All right, so Chief Malerba, this is where the questions and the spice get just a little bit more spicy.
It is very spicy.
And so the next question is, what are the connections you see, if any, between the United States Treasury and tribal sovereignty?
I think that...
And cheers one more time.
Oh, yeah. No, this time you're getting my sauce.
Yep. Fair enough, fair enough.
There's a lot of overlap, and you know, people think, when they think about tribal sovereignty and they think about the trust and treaty obligations with the United States, you know, of course they always think about Indian Health Services or the Bureau of Indian Affairs. But truly, every agency within the federal government, she's scaring me.
Don't mean to scare you.
Has a relationship with tribes, whether it's implicit and whether they recognize it or not. And as you know, we've done a lot of consultations around, you know, funding, around policy, but also education. And so we've been working to establish, you know, a curriculum that talks about tribal sovereignty, how to respect it, what's the trust and treaty obligations of the United States. And I do think that as we've set up this office, people now know that if they have a question about how to engage with the tribal government, they call the office, which is exactly what we want to have happen. And one of the ways that we want to help educate people is to bring them out to Indian country.
Heck yeah.
It's different to make policy when you're sitting in DC as it is than to go to a community and see how that policy has played out and how that policy has helped a community, and or understand what the barriers are to fully implementing it.
Well, the phoenix is going to rise here, so I'm going to let you take a bite. I'm trying to think, from Guadalupe, Angry Goat Pepper Company. That is apropos for this.
I might be an angry goat by the end of this.
This is a little bit warmer, that's for sure. And I think that's the other thing I want folks to realize, right, and acknowledge is your office at Treasury is a staff of 4 currently, right? And so you're doing all this work, you're policy analyzing, you're relating stories to Indian country, you're making sure people find out about programming with a staff of 4. Can you tell a little bit more about all of the hats they have to wear?
They're wearing a lot of hats. First, you know, they established the policies and also the funding mechanisms for a lot of the programs. Yeah, this is a little warm. For the funding through the American Rescue Plan Act to go out to Indian country. And so we've done a lot of work around compliance, and a great example of that is Jen Parisian.
Yeah.
I know. Jen Parisian took a bush plane into Alaska to train 179 different individuals on compliance. And they had translators that were translating it into Yupik, because a lot of the people that are managing those programs are not English speakers. And that's what I think people don't always understand about tribal communities. There is no broadband. You know, how are you going to upload your report to broadband? And so we need to partner with the people on the ground to make sure that that work happens. And we're working on how can we bridge that digital divide. Tribes are working to get broadband to all of their communities, but they're not there yet. All right, this is really hot.
That's really warm. Yeah, I know you're against it, but try the milk.
All right, I'll try the milk.
It'll help a little bit, I know. All right, are you ready? I think it's time.
Maybe.
Let's move on to karma sauce. So maybe there's some good here, but it's called Scorpion Disco.
Oh, all right. So for the viewers, okay?
Yeah.
A little nervous about this.
Our team put the hottest smattering I've ever seen. That's the most hot sauce.
I know, and I'm not envying you there. Yeah. I'm going to find the least little bit I can find
Just
here.
nibble. All right, ready? Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, I'm burning my lips already. I don't know why I'm licking my fingers.
You're a glutton for punishment.
I am. My goodness. So Scorpion Disco.
Oof.
Not fun.
All right, yeah, one bite, that's it for me. I'm tapping out here.
And so as I struggle through this fifth wing, I have to answer this question quick. This question's less spicy. We noticed on your social media, you're a huge basketball fan.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about that. And we're also curious to learn about how Mohegan became one of the first Native nations to own a professional sports team.
Well, okay, you know, I'm from Connecticut. Connecticut loves their basketball teams, particularly Yukon women, right? And so we, at the time, had a CEO for Mohegan Sun who also loved basketball and found out that the Miracle from Florida, I think, was for sale.
Yep.
Orlando, right,
Yep.
the Orlando Miracle. And so he said, wouldn't that be great if we bought them and we had a basketball team here? And we all, you know, being women, the women's basketball lovers that we are, thought that would be a really good idea. And so we have this wonderful team called Connecticut Sun. And they are just amazing. They're just amazing women because not only do they play great basketball, and fingers crossed this year they win it all. They're due. My lips are burning. But they do such good work in the community as well. And so they do basketball clinics with kids. They work at food banks. You know, they really engage. Everybody just loves this team, and it's something to do in the summertime because they play in the summer, and it's air conditioned. You know, so it's a great organization, and we're just super proud of them.
Wish I had air conditioning for my mouth right now.
I know. Yeah.
This was fun.
That was really hot. Yeah.
Before I let you go, I would be remiss if I didn't ask this last question, and we don't have to take a bite of any more scorpion disco.
Oh, thank you.
I think one of the things specifically post-pandemic and after the rise since George Floyd's murder is this importance people are putting on authentic narrative. There have been these huge moments of Native visibility. We've had shows on TV like Rutherford Falls and Reservation Dogs. We've had Deb Haaland appointed as Secretary of Interior, your appointment to the U.S. Treasury. Can you tell us a little bit about what you think that visibility means to Indian country, and what are some of those type of visibility moments that maybe you would like to highlight?
I went to an event at the White House, and I looked around the room and I thought about all the diversity in that room. You know, and you know, we had Native American History Month there with Jill Biden and Deb Haaland speaking. Everybody's in their ribbon skirts, and everybody's really proud of, you know, representing. And I think what it does is it elevates our history and our story. And I always tell everybody, you know, Native American History Month, you know, you could imagine people like me to come speak. But, you know, I've decided not to focus so much on history as present day. Because we're still here.
We're contemporary.
Right? We're still here. And, you know, there's this narrative that, you know, we can't exist in modernity. Well, we sure can. And we held on. And tribal communities are nothing if not resilient. So people talk a lot about, you know, intergenerational depression, but I say there's intergenerational resiliency, and we were taught that by our ancestors. That's, I think, what's really important to me.
I love it. And what I heard there, right, is it's moving past intergenerational trauma to really share intergenerational joy as well. Right, and the beauty that is Indian country and the things that we have to provide, acknowledging what we contributed in the past, but really talking about here we are contemporary, we're still here. I think the world is catching up to the power that is Indigenous women leadership in particular, right? So again, we think about Deb, we think about you, we think about Lieutenant Governor Flanagan. So talk about that. What should the country be ready for as we see more Indigenous women rising to positions of leadership?
Well, I think one of these days, the United States is going to catch up with the Indigenous communities in leadership, right? Because I'm proud to say that I'm the second female chief in Mohegan tribe. We had one in the 1700s. So what's happened, United States? Why isn't there an Indigenous female president? Come on, right? So I do think that, you know, as tribal women understand that not only can they advocate for their community locally, but they need to have a bigger voice at the federal level and on the national stage. We are going to take our rightful place, and I hope everybody is a little nervous about that.
They should be. Well, Chief Malerba, again, it's been truly an honor and a privilege to have you here on Wings with Wayne. We're so glad you were able to accommodate and show up, and safe travels back home.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. This has just been so much fun. I appreciate it.
Thank you.